Are you serious? Are you serious? I've got some breaking information from about the selection of the next pope. I want to share with you a caller who called in to my show from San Salvador. We've checked out our source. She is very legit, and the information she brings is, well, not surprising, but then again, it is earth-shattering. Let me tell you this right now. This thing is coming down to who is going to be the next pope. The conclave is just about ready to be set, the timeline. I believe they'll have a pope before Barack Obama enters into the streets of Jerusalem. And biblical prophecy is potentially being unfolded before our very eyes. I see it now. There's 3 leading candidates. Ghana's Peter Turkson, who would be the first black pope, who leans very left and liberal on several issues, including a one-world currency and gay marriage. But then there is Cardinal Baritone, who is a Vatican insider who may have been too close and too involved with some of the scandals that have taken place over the past few years when it relates to the correspondence of the Vatican. And then there's Marc Ouettet of Canada, highly regarded, highly respected, very conservative, but he would be the first pope ever chosen from the Americas. He has had extensive work in Latin America, and he has worked closely with the last 2 popes, Pope John Paul II and Pope Benedict XVI. I'm going to play an interview that was done of him. You can hear his own words as he's asked the question, do you want to be pope? And that, of course, would be a tough question to be asked. But here's an interview with him, and I'll be back to share with you some information in my book, Mark of the Beast, RFID, that has to do with this selection. Here we go now to interview from Canada.
We start with Cardinal Marc Ouettet. He fielded 120 media requests of late, but chose to give Peter Mansbridge the world-exclusive interview. Why so many media requests? Well, as soon as Pope Benedict XVI announced his retirement, Cardinal Ouellet's name was floated on a list of top contenders to succeed him. But he hasn't revealed what he thinks about becoming the next pope. Tonight, he will. In an excerpt from his only English television interview from his personal residence at the Vatican, here's what he told the CBC's chief correspondent.
Most of us who would see our names included in a list like that would obviously think about it, about that possibility. And quite likely, most of us would probably say, I want that. I would like that to happen. Mm-hmm. Would you like that to happen?
So, I have to be ready, even if I think that probably others could do it better. But we enter there, and since everything that is going on, we have to be to some extent prepared. And then there is this famous saying. The one that gets in Pope gets out Cardinal. It's a very famous say here in Rome, and we know it. And so that's why I think, my name is circulating, but I am very careful to go beyond this sort of media expectations. It is different.
Now that was Cardinal Marc Ouellet of Canada. I have more information about him. Cardinal Marc Ouellet once said that being Pope would be a nightmare. He would know, having enjoyed the confidence of 2 popes as a top-ranked Vatican insider. His high-profile position as head of the Vatican's Office for Bishops, his conservative leanings, his years in Latin America, and his work in Rome as president of a key commission for Latin America all make him a favorite to become the first pope from the Americas. But the qualities that make him popular in Latin America, home to the world's biggest Catholic population, and among the cardinals who elect the Pope, have contributed to his poor image in his native Quebec, Canada, where ironically he was perceived during his tenure as an archbishop as an outsider, parachuted in from Rome to reorder his liberal providence along with conservative lines. Now, this is just some of the information. Of course, I think about Bible prophecy. I think about what Jesus said. A prophet is not without honor except in his own country and among his own kin. Sometimes where your home is, sometimes is the most difficult place to actually minister. I think of Jesus. He came from Nazareth, and they said, oh, he's the son of a carpenter. We know Joseph. We know his dad. Although it wasn't his real dad, they didn't realize he was the Son of God. I even think of my own livelihood in the little town of North Judson, Indiana, where I grew up as a schoolboy and even played on the high school basketball team. I know everybody and everyone knows me. He can't be a minister of the gospel, representing the kingdom and reaching the world by YouTube ministries. But of course, that's the way it works. It is biblical prophecy. Now, as it relates to Marc Ouettet, let me say this. We had a phone call on the air live from a lady named Olga. I have her full name, but I'm not going to reveal it. She called in letting us know that she has contacts with the tailor who makes the robes and the dress and the wear of the popes. He's been given the contracts. He's made them for cardinals. He's made them for Pope Benedict XVI. He has the contract. He was called by the Vatican and given an order to make 3 different Pope garments and robes. 3 different specific sizes of men. All 3 different. And they're to all be done and sent to the Vatican. It's as if the consensus is coming down to 3 men. Now, he was not given their names, but he knows the 3 men's exact sizes. Now, you might say, Paul, that's such a far-fetched story. Understand something. In El Salvador, highly, probably 99% Catholic. The lady that called is the granddaughter of the former Secretary of State of Guatemala back in between 1931 and 1944 under a then dictator. He was elected and then became sort of a dictator of Guatemala. So she's the granddaughter. She's connected. And these, not only in the political sense, even though she's living in El Salvador, she's connected in Latin America. And of course, the Catholic Church is deeply connected and prevalent within South America and Central America nations. Having said all that, it's coming down, maybe. I'm going to say it's coming down between Peter Turkson of Ghana, Cardinal Baritone of Rome, and Cardinal Marc Ouettet of Canada. What's really wild is in my book, Mark of the Beast, RFID. I wrote it based on current world events and a lot of Bible prophecy, and then my own end-time apocalyptic scenario. So it's a novel, but it's based on a ton of stuff that's already happened and things that I see coming. As I wrote this book, I prayed to God and in the Holy Spirit to guide me even in a fiction, even as I was writing a novel. And the Lord showed me, or I should say the Holy Spirit impressed upon me to write that Pope Benedict XVI resigned, and he did. First Pope in 600 years. Also that Muhammad Mursi would win the election in Egypt out of 13 candidates, and he did. Also, the Lord showed me that there would be mass executions of French Canadians in Quebec, Canada. I wrote it in the same pages as the Pope resigning. What I did not know, had no clue, is Marc Ouettet is from Quebec, Canada. And the Christians will come under persecution around the world Bible